10 of America's biggest bread brands, tested by an actual state health department and independent labs. 6 out of 10 came back positive for a weed killer chemical, not on the farm, causing danger to your gut, digestive health, and even causing you your overall health in the finished loaf on your counter. Stick with me, and you'll get 3 things. The exact brands that tested worst, ranked from concerning to genuinely shocking, the 3 brands that came back clean and are actually worth buying, and a 10-second trick you can use in any grocery aisle to spot the difference yourself. No lab required. If you eat bread, and you do, hit subscribe before we start, because you're going to want the follow-up when more brands get tested. Drop a comment with the brand in your kitchen right now. We're reading them. Number 10, Great Value Whole Wheat. Let's start cheap. Press on a bag of Walmart's Great Value Whole Wheat. It compresses like a foam cushion and springs right back. Independent lab testing from the Detox Project and EWG found 340 parts per billion of glyphosate inside it. Legal, sure. The EPA's ceiling for wheat is 30,000 parts per billion. But that number was built for one chemical, one food, one healthy adult, not someone getting glyphosate from cereal, crackers, and dinner bread on the same day. Walmart pulls in over $700 billion a year. Cleaner grain isn't a budget problem at that scale. It's a decision. Bad news. The next brand costs more and tests worse. Number 9. Market Pantry Organic Target's Market Pantry Organic Whole Wheat carries the USDA seal and tested at 348 parts per billion, higher than Wonder Bread. Here's the catch. Organic verifies the farmer didn't spray glyphosate on purpose. It says nothing about drift from the conventional field next door, and no law requires anyone to test for that gap. You paid the premium for the seal. The seal doesn't cover what actually ends up in the loaf. Number 8. Oro Wheat Organic. 2 families started Oro Wheat in 1932. Grupo Bimbo bought it in 2009. The same company that now also owns Arnold, Sara Lee, Entenmann's, and more. EWG reported 70 parts per billion in Oro Wheat's whole grain bread back in 2018. Nothing independently published since. Bimbo pulls in roughly $22 billion a year. If they're testing every batch now, they haven't shown anyone the results. Number 7. Nature's Own Flowers Foods flagship, Natural, right there in the name. Florida's Department of Health tested it in February 2026. 190.23 parts per billion in butter bread, 132.34 in perfectly crafted white. Read the rest of the label. Calcium propionate, datum, sodium stearoyl lactylate, all working to keep that pillowy texture for weeks. In July 2025, a class action lawsuit was filed in California federal court, alleging Flowers falsely markets these loaves as free of artificial preservatives, while ascorbic acid sits right there on the ingredient list. Flowers denies it. We're about a third of the way through. The next few brands are where this gets more serious, including a premium organic label with no published test data at all. Number 6. Arnold Organic. Arnold's been on shelves since 1940, and its organic line reads like the answer health-conscious shoppers were looking for. Same parent company as Oro Wheat, same $22 billion operation. Here's the specific problem. Sara Lee's been tested. Nature's Own has been tested. Dave's Killer Bread has been tested across multiple years. Arnold Organic, nothing publicly available. Not it's clean, not it's contaminated. Just silence from a company that's tested every other brand it owns. Number 5. Wonder Bread, the grandmother trusted staple. Florida's testing found 173.19 parts per billion. The ingredient list includes calcium sulfate, the same compound used in drywall, plus sodium stearoyl lactylate, and bleached then refortified flour. Same parent company as Nature's Own, same supply chain. 2 slices a day for 40 years is close to 30,000 servings of accumulated exposure. Your body starts reducing its load the moment you stop adding to it, which is the whole point of the second half of this video. Number 4. Sara Lee Honey Wheat. 70 years in American kitchens. Florida's testing found 191.04 parts per billion, the single highest reading in that entire round. Higher than Wonder Bread, higher than Nature's Own. Honey's in the name, corn syrup is what's actually sweetening it. Owned by Bimbo since 2011, same parent as Oro Wheat and Arnold. If you've made it this far and you're already checking your own pantry, good, that's the point. Tell me in the comments, which of these 3 so far actually surprised you? Because the next 3 are going to surprise you more, starting with a name a lot of you consider the healthy option in the aisle. Number 3. Pepperidge Farm, owned by the Campbell Company, over $10 billion a year in revenue. Independent testing found 587 parts per billion in the 100% whole grain whole wheat and 531 in the Jewish rye and pumpernickel deli swirl, but zero detected in Farmhouse Hardy White in Florida's own testing. Same brand, wildly different numbers, and there's a reason. Glyphosate is sometimes sprayed on standing wheat as a pre-harvest drying agent, and that residue concentrates in the outer hull, the part whole wheat bread keeps and white bread strips away. The healthier choice can mean more exposure. And Bayer, which makes the herbicide behind all of this, has paid roughly $11 billion, settling close to 100,000 cancer lawsuits, with a further $7.25 billion settlement proposed in February 2026, while still maintaining, publicly, that glyphosate doesn't cause cancer. Number 2, Dave's Killer Bread, the brand health-conscious shoppers reach for with total confidence. USDA organic, non-GMO verified, a founder's redemption story on every bag. The Alliance for Natural Health reported 136 parts per billion in the whole wheat. Florida's own testing found 11.85 and 10.38 parts per billion in 2 other varieties, the lowest numbers of any brand on this list. Lower is not zero, and a brand built entirely on being the gold standard made a specific promise. Flowers Foods bought it in 2015 for a reported $275 million and pushed it into nationwide distribution through the same infrastructure as Wonder Bread. In September 2024, a California federal judge certified a class action alleging the company misled buyers about protein content on the front label. Flowers denies it. Number 1, 365 by Whole Foods. Amazon owns Whole Foods, bought for $13.7 billion in 2017. Independent testing found 1,040 parts per billion of glyphosate in the 365 whole wheat sandwich bread, among the highest of any bread tested anywhere. Whole Foods built its entire identity on refusing ingredients other stores allow. A former Whole Foods vice president has spoken publicly about a more centralized, logistics-driven supply chain replacing that original sourcing philosophy since the acquisition. And here's the part regulators won't bring up. A 2015 peer-reviewed study out of King's College London found that ultra-low doses of Roundup, far below what current food testing even measures for, altered gene expression in the liver and kidney tissue of lab rats. Not an occupational dose, below what the system tracks at all. Trustworthy picks, best breads you can buy. Best number 3, Food for Life, Ezekiel 4:9, no flour, sprouted whole grains and legumes, slow-baked. Carries the biochecked non-glyphosate certified seal, a certification that tests the finished product, not just the farming intent. Glycemic index around 36 versus 70 plus for white bread. Family owned in California since 1964. Best number 2, 1 Degree Organics. Scan the QR code on the bag and trace your wheat back to the actual field it grew in. Biocheck certified, and the company says it sends samples to accredited labs every month. Voluntarily, because no law requires it. Best number 1, Silver Hills Sprouted Bakery. Canadian, family-owned, biochecked certified across the line, and sandwich soft enough that switching doesn't feel like a sacrifice. The company says its sourcing standards were shaped directly by the World Health Organization's 2015 classification of glyphosate as a probable carcinogen. Available at Sprouts and Whole Foods in the US. How to check it yourself. You don't need a lab. Flip the bag over and count the ingredients. Real bread is flour, water, salt, yeast, maybe a little oil. 5 ingredients, give or take. Anything beyond that is there to extend shelf life or fake freshness. Second, the USDA organic seal only verifies intent, not the finished product. Look instead for biochecked non-glyphosate certified or non-GMO project verified, since both require actual lab testing of what's in your hands. Third, buy from the freezer section when you can. Bread that survives weeks at room temperature was engineered for a warehouse shelf. Bread that molds in a few days was made for you. You did everything a health-conscious shopper is told to do. Read the label, pay the premium, trust the seal. And some of these brands still tested near the top of every independent database we found. Now you know how to check for yourself. If this changed how you look at your bread aisle, subscribe subscribe for the next one, and send this to the person in your life who still thinks the organic loaf is automatically the safe one.